Looking at Kreg's PRS2100, now that's their portable router table, so I'll show you the features of this one, plus some of my favorite add-on accessories. Stick around to the end for an interesting feature about the joining rods on this table that I bet you didn't know. One of the first things you notice about any portable table is that it stands about 16 inches tall, so when I put that on my workbench, it's actually kind of a ridiculous height to use, kind of puts it right at neck and face level, something you definitely want to avoid. So when you're buying a portable table, just remember to consider in the equation what stand you're going to put it on. So I put mine on a universal tool stand that I picked up from Harbor Freight. It's height adjustable, so you can drop it down to 25 or 26 inches high, which is perfect for a portable router table. And that'll put the overall table height at a much more reasonable level for you. There's nothing provided with the kit for mounting, so you can do like I do and use a couple of clamps on either end where they're not in the way. Or you could just remove the rubber feet and run screws down through those holes in the metal frame for a permanent mount. The metal legs are splayed for a wider base of support, and that really does translate to a solid feel when you're pushing a board across the table. Then as far as optional accessories, you have the TrueFlex feather boards. These are pretty average in my opinion, plastic hardware. They certainly do the job and they work good in this blue miter track, but really any feather board would work here. And then you have these excellent flip stops that are designed specifically for this router table. They lock in nice and secure, and you can use them on the right or left side of the bit depending on how you assemble those. Little cursor and a scale up top is helpful as well. And this is an accessory I used often for stop grooves. And it's worth noting that those are different than the production stop or the standard flip stop that you might have on your miter saw or crosscut sled. It has to be the precision router stop to fit on this fence. And I'll put links to all the right accessories as well as the whole router table down in the description box. When you strip it down to just what the router table package comes with, there's still some nice things to look at. The top is nice and thick, about an inch thick there. It's an MDF top with a micro dot covering, so low friction surface there. And the router insert is the phenolic variety, so maybe not quite as high quality as a full aluminum version, but still heavy duty and it can handle a large router. I do like the twist lock inserts. The kit comes with a few of those. They level out nice and they're really easy to swap out. Or you can get this optional kit that includes just about every imaginable insert ring plus a nice little storage stand. The basic router table package does come with a lightweight plastic wrench, but it does give you enough leverage to swap out those insert rings. Just be aware that it's a little counterintuitive because you're turning clockwise to loosen it. You can get a blank plate that's only been drilled for a starter pin. Or you can get the insert plate that's been pre-drilled for common routers like the Bosch 1617 and the DeWalt 618. The bit guard on other brands is something that's really bothersome to me. They're cumbersome to pull off and to reinstall, and this is something that the Kreg really got right, and it's just because there's a through T-track all the way across your aluminum fence. Fence quality to me on a router table is really make or break, and the Kreg version is good. I'd say it's kind of a medium duty L-shaped aluminum extrusion. It's got your typical sliding fences so you can adapt to different bit sizes. It does have a jointer function where you can pull out these joiner rods and put two of those on the outfeed side, and you can use your router table like a jointer. I don't use that feature very often. I don't think many people do, but it's really not in your way, so why not have that extra feature? The fence locking knobs are different than most router tables. Instead of a tall knob, it's a quick release knob. And while those do work fine to secure the fence, sometimes it's a little finicky when you're pulling your fence off and then reinstalling it. It'll take you a minute to kind of find those slots unless you've loosened that screw up, but once you get used to the system, it works pretty good. The quick release knobs remind me very much of the fence on my Kreg Foreman, so if you have one of those, you know what to expect. Dust collection off the fence port can be really excellent depending on the type of cut you're making. You can wrangle a 2.5 inch dust collection hose over that port. You might need a heat gun to make it fit, or any shop vac fitting fits really nice on the inside diameter. Dust collection topside is excellent. In fact, it seems almost spotless at times, but you'll notice that some dust falls down below the table. That's just what you can expect unless you have an aftermarket dust collection accessory for your router. If you happen to get the plate that's pre-drilled for the Bosch 1617, I really like the way that situates your router controls. From the front, there's good access to the lock, the height adjustment, and the power switch, or you can rotate it one position over for better access to these controls if you happen to have a remote power switch. And while that auxiliary switch is not included with the kit, it is pre-drilled in case you want to add that accessory. There's a threaded insert for your starting pin in case you like to make freehand cuts. And I was really happy to see that there's 4 mounting screws on these insert plates. Silly to say, but some manufacturers only do 2 at opposite corners, and you really need those 4 screws to really nicely level it with your table surface. And the plate is aligned with the table by 8 set screws from underneath, and that system works quite well. While you stuck around this long, let's take a look at that special feature about the joining rods on this particular table. Well, it's pretty common these days to have joiner rods on the outfeed side of your router table, so you can use it like a joiner. This one takes it a step further. There's actually narrow slots and deeper slots. If you use these narrower slots, you'll get a 1/16 inch pass, or you can move them to these deeper slots and you'll get a 1/32 inch really light trimming pass. So nice feature on that fence. I do wish that the screws wouldn't turn when you twist the knobs, but just one minor negative on this Kreg fence. So if you're looking for a portable router table, I do think this one is like a 4 out of 5 on every category that you can look at, and surprisingly that makes it better than most other router tables currently on the market. So it really is a solid table. It's one that I feel confident when I'm using it, and it's Kreg. You kind of know what you're going to get. So nice heavy duty parts, and overall it's a good package. So if you're in the market for one of these, I would definitely recommend the Kreg PRS2100.